Hi students, welcome to VerandaRace. Today's session will be all about error spotting and some correct uses of words. So we shall start the session now without much ado because it's already 11 o'clock. So let us start the session. Let me see how many of you are present. 2 are watching. 4. Okay, fine. Good morning everyone. So let us start the session, students. The first question is, she has often difficulty in understanding the road maps and reaching the destinations on time. Okay. So the first error is in the first part because the positioning of often has been done wrongly. The positioning of often has been done wrongly. It should come just after the subject. She often has difficulty in understanding the road maps and reaching their destinations on time. So the error is in part 1, which is the positioning of often, which should be placed before the subject and the verb. Just after the subject. So it should be she often has difficulty in understanding. Next question. The fact that makes the art gallery unique is that each one of the drawings is different. This should be the correct answer. And has different themes because each one of the drawings symbolizes only one entity. So it should be is and not are. So answer will be is. So error is in part 3. Okay. The fact that makes the art gallery unique is that each one of the drawings is different and has different themes. Correct? You will be under hot water if your parents find out that you sneaked out last night. So it should be you will be in hot water. In hot water means in a difficult situation, in a predicament, in a difficult situation. Muthu is different, correct? Next question will be you will be in hot water. In hot water because the phrase says somebody if he is in hot water, it means he is in a trouble, he is in a difficult situation. So you will be in hot water. So the answer will be 2. 2 has an error. Good morning, Ramakrishna. Next question. Anita's ability to code and hack at such great speed were a topic of discussion in the office every day. Okay. Anita's ability to code and hack at such great speed is a topic of discussion in the office every day. Because it's every day, we will use is. Were is a plural thing. So code and hack is at such great speed is singular, so it should be is. Is will be the correct answer. Because we're talking about Anita's ability to code and hack. Or ability to code and hack is a topic of discussion in the office every day. Because of every day, it should be is and not was. Because is used to symbolize present simple, and it's also because ability is singular, we will use is. Okay, such great speed is okay. You can say such a great speed, that's fine, but the error is in part 2 only, which is such great speed is a topic of discussion in the office every day. Okay, next question. No sooner I had finished the meal than I started feeling sick. So no sooner had I finished. The correct structure will be no sooner had I finished. Why? Because whenever a sentence starts with an adverb, in this case it is no sooner, then the verb gets inverted. I had becomes had I. Whenever the sentence starts with no sooner or any adverb like never or hardly or scarcely, the verb gets inverted. So I had finished will be replaced by had I finished. Had I finished. No sooner had I finished the meal than I started feeling sick. Okay. I've never done such kind of a job, so I am in a disadvantage. I am in a disadvantage when it comes to selling these products in the streets. I've never done such kind of job because such kind of or kind of is not followed by any article. Plus, It should be I am at a disadvantage. Kind of, type of, sort of, kind of, type of, sort of are not followed by articles. We don't say I have a kind of a problem. I have a certain kind of problem. So it should be, article should be removed from here, and it should be at a disadvantage. I've never done such a kind of job, so I am at a disadvantage when it comes to selling these products in the streets. Okay? To sell. No sooner had I finished, correct inversion, correct Pechimuthu. So to sell, he says, when it comes to sell, no, it's no, your question is genuine, because when it comes to is followed by gerund, gerund. Gerund is what? Ing form of verb. When it comes to, with a view to, looking forward to, these terms are followed by ing form of verb, v plus ing. That is gerund basically. Not to sell, but with a view to selling these products. Okay. So the error is in part 2, which says at a disadvantage and I am in such kind of job. Okay. Moving ahead. When she parted with her sister, she had tears in her eyes. See, you part with objects. I cannot part with money. Suppose a sentence is like that. I cannot part with money. This is correct because money is an object. You cannot part with money is correct. But when we part from people, it's part from. She cannot part from her sister. When she parted from her sister, she had tears in her eyes. So here is in part 2. Part from people, part with objects or money or entities. I have been looking for my keys for an hour, but now I failed in finding them so far. See, so far, whenever so far is used, we use the present perfect. So I have failed. It should be I have failed. So terms like so far, up to now, till now, recently, already, yet. Up to now, till now, recently, already, yet, so far. With these terms, we use the present perfect. So have failed will be the correct answer. Okay, have failed will be the correct answer. So I have been looking for my keys for an hour now, but I have failed in finding them so far. As much as I admire him for his talent and endeavor to achieve success, I cannot forgive him for being so rude to the not so well-to-do ones. Okay, error is in part 1 because we are saying as much as I admire him for his talent. It should be much as I admire. This is special use. Much as I admire for his talent, I cannot forgive him for being so rude to the not so well-to-do ones. So well-to-do ones means what? Poor people. So there are some people who are well-to-do. Well-to-do, they are rich people. Some are not well-to-do people. It's not well-to-do ones. They are poor people. So much as I admire him for his talent and endeavor to achieve success, I cannot forgive him for being so rude to the not so well-to-do ones. Okay. This is a special structure. Much as I admire him, much as I do favor for him, he does not respect me. This way we can use, right? Okay. Now we have different kind of error spotting. 3 questions have been given. 3 statements have been given. One is incorrect. One is correct. We have to find the correct one. So India is home to arguably the world's most diverse and oldest human civilization. India is home of, this is incorrect. We say Chennai is home to various kinds of religions and people. So it's like India is home to is the correct answer. India is home for is incorrect. India is home to is correct. Home to some people or home to some different kind of religions or communities. That means it is a place where these communities thrive. It is a place where these communities thrive. So 1 will be the correct sentence. 1, 2 and 3 are incorrect. Okay. Chota Udaipur was a small princely state in Gujarat ruled by the descendants of Prithviraj Chauhan. Okay. Chota Udaipur is a small, so it says was a small princely state. It is still a princely state. Okay. Chota Udaipur is a small princely state in Gujarat which used to be. Chota Udaipur is a small princely state in Gujarat which was once ruled by the descendants of Prithviraj Chauhan. 3rd will be the correct answer because used to be is kind of discontinued habit, and which was once ruled, which shows that particular era or that particular time zone when it was ruled by the descendants of Prithviraj Chauhan. So used to be is like discontinued habit. It was not a habit of theirs, right? When we say used to be ruled, we talk about the habit of those people at that particular moment. But it was once ruled is correct because it does not show the habit, but it shows the action that was being taken place that particular moment. So we cannot say used to be ruled by, because used to is used for something which was a discontinued habit. It was not a habit of them to rule the small princely state in Gujarat. Okay, so answer will be 3. Next question. Children at this stage also mete out justice in an eye for an eye manner or according to golden rule logic. Children at this age also mete out justice in an eye for eye and contact manner or according to golden rule logic. Third one, children at this stage also mete out. So mete out is incorrect. This mete out is incorrect. Mete out is correct. METE out. METE out means getting justice. So children at this stage also mete out justice in an eye for an eye manner or according to golden rule logic. So I'm not sure about the golden rule logic, but the statement is METE out. Mete out is the correct use basically. For example, if we say justice was meted out to him. Meted spelling is METED. Meted out to him. Meted out to him means he got the justice. So this sentence means that children at this stage also mete out justice in an eye for an eye manner. So they deserve or they want justice in an eye for an eye. Eye for an eye means tit for tat. So mete out justice is the correct use. This mete out is incorrect. This mete out is incorrect. METE out is used for justice. Okay. Next question. The more careful a student is, the fewer mistakes he makes. The more careful a student is, fewer the mistakes he makes. The correct answer is A, 1. I'll tell you why 1 is the correct answer, because the more careful, the fewer mistakes. This is a parallel structure. When we use two comparatives in a sentence, we use article the before both of them. Like the more careful, this is a comparative degree, fewer is a comparative degree. So both are in the comparative degree, so we'll use the before both of them. The higher you go, the colder it is. The higher the demand, the higher the price, the lower the demand, this way. So before both the comparative degrees, we use the article the. So only in first case what has happened, article the has been used before these two comparative words, fewer and more careful. Okay. Rest are incorrect because it talks about the mistakes, the few mistakes, which are not comparative degrees, right? Only the first one has both the comparative degrees, and before that article has been placed. Okay. Moving ahead to next question. The accused requested to the judge. Accused requested the judge for mercy after confessing his crimes. The accused appealed to the judge for mercy after confessing his crimes. The accused climbed to the judge is incorrect. Requested the judge, not to. Article 2, preposition 2 is not used after requested, so it is incorrect. So the only answer is the appeal. The accused appealed to the judge. We appeal to someone. We make appeals to someone, but we don't request to someone. We request someone. So the answer would be the accused appealed to the judge for mercy after confessing his crime. So answer will be 2. 2 is correct. All others are incorrect. Now further common error spotting questions. You will continue to receive dividends for the stock in your names, so there will be sufficient funds for you all to move on. So this is incorrect. It should be your names. YOUR, not you are. This you are shows you are. This should be your names. You would continue to receive dividends for the stock in your names, so there will be sufficient funds for you all to move on. One more error is there. It is there would be. It should be would be because the sentence starts with would, so it will be would here also, past tense. Okay. So error is 100% part C only, because this has two errors. One should be your and one should be you would be. Okay. Next question. Her dazzling achievements as a general have obscured his much sober qualities as a ruler, and even the sound strategy with which he aimed to be master of the narrow seas. Okay, it's a very good question. Let's find the errors in these sentences. Her dazzling achievements as a general is incorrect. It should be in general. Her dazzling achievements in general, this should be in general, her dazzling achievements in general have obscured his much sober qualities as a ruler. Hmm. So it talks about two people, she and he. So her dazzling achievements in general have obscured his, obscured means mysticized, like making something mystic. So her dazzling achievements in general have obscured his much sober qualities as a ruler, that's fine. And even the sound strategy with which he aimed to be master of the narrow sea. So error is in part 1. A has an error. So her dazzling achievements in general, not as a general. It should be in general. His dazzling, he says. Somebody says is dazzling. Vechimuthu says his dazzling. Yeah, that's also correct. But if I take it like two different people, her dazzling achievements in general have obscured his much sober. Okay, that's fine. We can take his also, and this should be in general. In general is 100% an error. That's great that we have error in the first part only. That's correct. But if we see, Muthu, we can also see that somebody else's achievements have obscured somebody else's sober qualities as a ruler. So that's also that point of view is also not incorrect. But if you find that we change it to his, that's no problem at all. That will, the first part will remain the error. His dazzling achievements in general have obscured his much sober qualities as a ruler, and even the sound strategy with which he aimed to be the master of the narrow seas. So error is you are correct. His dazzling is correct, Muthu, and plus the in general will also be correct. Fine. Next question. A success of a restaurant rested more on out of date memories than the current excellence of its bill of fare. I think there are two errors in the sentence, two or three errors. Let us find the multiple error questions. A success of a restaurant, so it should be the success of a restaurant. It should be the success. So A has an error. The success of a restaurant rested more on, okay, it should be rests more on, right? There are multiple error questions. The success of a restaurant rests more on out of date memories than the current excellence of its bills of fare. So A, B, and D. A, B, and D. It's a multiple error question. A, B, and D. A, B, and D will have an error. The success of a restaurant rests more on out of date memories than the current excellence of its bills of fare. Okay. Burr was unscrupulous, insincere, and notoriously moral, but he was pleasing in his manners, generous to a fault, and was intensely devoted to his wife and daughter. So these has multiple error. These are multiple error questions. So Burr was unscrupulous, insincere. A has no error, and notoriously moral. So how can we say notoriously moral? It should be immoral, right? Notoriously immoral. Because notorious is something bad, right? So notoriously moral is like oxymoron. It's an oxymoron, which means two different words have been placed together, which is incorrect. So it should be and notoriously immoral. So B has an error, but he was pleasing in his manners, generous to a fault, and was intensely devoted. So B and D have errors. B and D have errors. B and D have errors. So Burr was unscrupulous, insincere, and notoriously immoral, but he was pleasing in his manners, generous to a fault, and was intensely devoted to his wife and daughter. So B and D have errors. Okay, B and D have errors. White-owned companies may seek to cash up the increasing apportionments through formation of joint ventures with minority-owned concerns. It should be minority-owned concerns. So D 100% has an error. Minority-owned concerns. White-owned companies may seek to cash up the cash in on. It should be cash in on. Cash in on. What is the meaning of cash in on? Means to acquire the opportunities, not cash up the increasing apportionments. So while white-owned companies may seek to cash in on, so A has an error. A and D have an error. Cash in on the increasing apportionments through formation. Apportionment means opportunities like grants and all. Increasing apportionments through the formation of joint venture with minority owned concerns. Just a moment, students. Okay, so apportionment means allocation, allocation and devoting something to a particular cause, allocation or distribution. So apportionment will mean distribution or allocation. So white-owned companies may seek to cash in on the increasing the distribution through formation of joint ventures with minority-owned concerns. So A and D will have error. A should be cash in on, cash in on. Fine, cash in on means acquiring. Okay. Next, a close-knit community of around 5,000 Afghans live in Kolkata. A closely knit, okay. A closely knit community of around 5,000 Afghans live in Kolkata. Even today, though it might no longer be vendors of odds and ends. Okay. Okay, it's a good question. A closely knit community of around 5,000 Afghans live in Kolkata. Even today, though it might no longer be vendors, though it should be they, right? Because I'm talking about Afghans, not the community. Though they might no longer be vendors, because it's vendors, right? So we'll have they over here. They might no longer be vendors of odds and ends. So if you see the question, a close-knit community of around 5,000 Afghans. Afghans means the Afghan people. So they live in Kolkata. So since in D we have used vendors, so it should be they might no longer. So here it should be a closely knit community of around 5,000 Afghans live in Kolkata. Even today, though they might no longer be vendors of odds and ends. Odds and ends means difficult situations and the end of something. So odds and ends will be mean vendors of difficult situations, creating difficult situations for others, though they might no longer be vendors of odds and ends. So whenever a situation very difficult arises, it's known as situation of odds and ends. Okay. So they are no more vendors of odds and ends, but here we should use they because we talk about vendors plural. So error is in part C. Next, despite a 5-year extension of the deadline, a majority of Indian power plants have not been able to. So it should be have not been able. Error is in part C. Despite a 5-year extension of the deadline, a majority of Indian power plants have not been able to get their toxic emissions down. So it should be THEIR, not THERE. So C and D have errors. Like, despite a 5-year extension of the deadline, a majority of Indian power plants have not been able to get their toxic emissions down. So it's C and D have errors. So their spelling is wrong. THEIR should be the correct answer, and have not been able to will be the correct answer. Fine. We know surprisingly little about. We know surprisingly little about vanished civilization, whose majesty and whose. So it should be whose majesty and whose ultimate demise. Okay. Were closely linked to liberties they took with water. Okay. So error is in part A, error is in part B, because we can use whose for civilizations as well. We can use whose for people as well. So we know surprisingly little about vanished civilizations and whose majesty and whose ultimate demise were closely linked to liberties they took with water. So A and B have errors. Okay. A and B have errors. She had taken a small package containing bread, socks and other amenities towards her sister Sonia and brother Nathan. It should be for her sister Sonia and brother Nathan. So A and C have error. Like she had taken a small package containing bread, socks and other amenities for her sister Sonia and brother Nathan. A and C have error. Okay. Moving ahead to correct usage of words. So enormous is a word, and 4 uses have been given over here. You have to find which use is incorrect. Okay. So there was an enormous traffic jam in New Delhi. This is correct. Enormous means huge, large. It is like huge, large, of extensive nature. So huge traffic jam is correct. Distributed computing makes enormous computational problems. That's correct. Huge computational problems. As we sat on the bench near the elephant's cage at zoo, it let out an enormous sneeze, which is correct. Huge sneeze. Compiling a book demands an enormous amount of time. Okay, all are correct. This is the correct answer. Enormous amount of time means huge amount of time. So all are correctly used. Next, moving ahead to next word, adversity. Adversity, we did this word few days ago, I guess. Adversity means bad, means opposing condition, means bad condition, which misfortune. So adversity is misfortune. Misfortune. I like the word for you because we did it few days ago, I guess. Misfortune. So continued adversity had soured Vivek's temper. This is correct. Although my teenage years were filled with adversity, this is correct, which is because filled with misfortune. He was so satisfied with his adversity that he bought a new car for himself. This is incorrect. Nobody can be satisfied with his adversity and buy a car. Adversity is misfortune. So this is incorrect. C is incorrect. Mark's unbreakable resolve helped him to overcome adversity when he lost the job. This is correct. So the answer is A, B and D. These are correct sentences. C is incorrect. These are correct sentences. C is incorrect. Okay. Moving ahead. Inordinate. Inordinate means huge number, a great number, a large number. Inordinate means a large number. So every year I spent an inordinate amount of time. That's correct. Inordinate amount of time means inordinate also means huge, large, big. Okay. So inordinate amount of time means which is profuse, very large in number or very large in quantity. So one is correct. When Sindhu won the silver medal, she received inordinate praise. This is correct. He inordinate the work so that someone else completed it. This is incorrect. Inordinate the work cannot be used as a verb, or if it were a verb, we can use it like inordinated, which is incorrect again. So it is incorrect. C is incorrect. It did not surprise anyone when Vivek joined the police academy because even as a child, he had inordinate interest in law enforcement. That's correct. Huge interest. So error will be C. C part has an error, wrongly used, and we have to find the correct uses. So A, B and D are correct uses. Okay. Fine. And the last question for today, extrinsic. Extrinsic means which is not related to internal things, related to external things, extraneous things. Okay. So extrinsic motivators such as money, this is correct because it motivates from outside, right? Which is not within, which is without, which is outside. In the religious sect, extrinsic is one of the factors that prevents women from pursuing college degree. This is incorrect. Extrinsic is one of the factors, means external factors, but it does not mean here. Extrinsic growth drivers are the economic influences. This is correct. Extrinsic economic influences, which are extrinsic growth drivers. Extrinsic means external growth drivers. So C is correct. We'll read the sentence. Extrinsic growth drivers are the economic influences which contribute to the growth of an area, but which originate outside of that area as a result of influences occurring elsewhere. This is correct. Our teacher said that she would not allow questions that are extrinsic to the subject matter under discussion. That's fine. Extrinsic means external and out of syllabus, we can say, right? Out of the discussion point. So we have done this question. The error is in part B, which says extrinsic is one of the factors. So with this, we have one more word, mediate. Mediate means being an arbitrator or mediator in between. So if you mediate something, you are a bridge between two things. The argument can only be settled fairly if an uninvolved person is called into to mediate the quarrel. This is correct. I use the argument can only be settled fairly if an uninvolved person, means unbiased person, is called to mediate the quarrel, means to bridge the quarrel, bridge the two people. If the council cannot mediate the crisis between two countries, there may be an international war. This is correct. A good mediator can make a deal go pathetic. This is incorrect. A good mediator, how can he make the deal go pathetic? That's a problematic situation. That's a wrong answer. My father is one of those who usually has to mediate the disagreements between our sons. This is correct. So all are correct is incorrect. So only A, B and D are correct. C is incorrect. Okay. Thank you so much for being part of the session, students. I hope you loved the session a lot. Thank you so much.